It all started on a quiet Thursday afternoon, in a dusty, sun-bleached town off Highway 16. The kind of town most people just pass through without ever thinking twice. At the edge of the road sat an old, worn-down diner, neon sign flickering, jukebox playing faded country tunes, and the scent of greasy fries hanging heavy in the air. Inside, locals occupied their usual spots. Truckers, travelers, and retirees filled the booths, sipping lukewarm coffee and trading stories nobody really listened to. Then came the sound of engines. Loud, aggressive. Four motorcycles rumbled into the gravel parking lot like a warning. The bikes stopped, and off them stepped four men, tall, burly, wearing leather jackets emblazoned with skulls, Confederate flags, and insignias meant to intimidate. These weren't just bikers. They were part of a local group infamous in nearby counties for their racism and violent streaks. Their names didn't matter. What mattered was what they stood for, and what they were about to do. They stomped into the diner like they owned it. Everyone noticed. The air changed. Conversations paused. Forks hovered midair. Even the waitress behind the counter tensed up, gripping the coffee pot a little tighter. These men didn't come here for a meal. They came for attention. For dominance. And unfortunately, for a target. Sitting quietly in a corner booth was a man they hadn't noticed yet. He was tall. Muscular, but not in a showy way. Wearing a simple gray hoodie, dark jeans, and a worn-out pair of boots. He kept to himself, slowly cutting into his food with the kind of calm that comes from a life of discipline. His name was Michael. To the average eye, he looked like just another traveler passing through. Nothing remarkable. Nothing threatening. But that's exactly how he preferred it. Michael wasn't just another man on the road. He was a former Navy SEAL. Over 12 years of service. Dozens of classified missions across hostile terrain. He'd been in firefights, hostage rescues, deep-sea recoveries. He had survived ambushes, lost brothers, and saved countless lives under fire. His training was etched into every muscle, every breath. But none of that showed, not yet. The biker's eyes scanned the room, looking for someone to mess with. That's what they did. Intimidation was their game. One of them nudged another, motioning toward Michael. A smirk curled on his lips. "Fresh meat," he whispered. They approached slowly. The lead biker, tall, bald, with a scar across his cheek, stepped up to Michael's booth. He towered over him, casting a long shadow across the table. "You lost, boy?" he asked, voice oozing mockery. Michael didn't look up. He calmly took another bite of his food. "I said," the biker repeated, louder now, "you lost?" Still, nothing. The biker slammed a hand down on the table, shaking the silverware. "You deaf or just plain stupid?" Michael finally looked up. His gaze was level, steady, unreadable. The room was silent. Everyone was watching. "No," Michael said quietly. "Just trying to eat." That answer didn't sit well. Another biker stepped closer. "This ain't your kind of place, you know. Maybe you should move along." Michael set down his fork. "I don't want trouble," he said. "But I'm not leaving my food." That was enough. The third biker reached out and grabbed Michael's shoulder. Big mistake. In a blur of movement, faster than anyone could react, Michael stood up and twisted the biker's wrist, slamming him into the side of the booth with a dull thud. The man dropped instantly, groaning in pain. The entire diner gasped. Chairs scraped. Coffee spilled. The bikers froze, stunned. Michael stepped back, hands still open, controlled, calm. "You should leave," he said, voice low but firm. But pride is a dangerous thing. Especially when it's fueled by ignorance. The remaining three lunged. What happened next didn't look real. Michael moved like a shadow. Every strike was precise. Every motion efficient. One biker swung a punch, Michael ducked and delivered a palm strike to his chest that knocked the air clean out of him. Another tried to grab him from behind. Michael twisted and used the man's momentum to flip him over onto a nearby table, plates shattering everywhere. Within 20 seconds, all 4 bikers were on the ground. Moaning. Groaning. Defeated. The silence in the diner was deafening. No one moved. No one spoke. The waitress stared with wide eyes, the coffee pot still in her trembling hand. The truckers blinked, unsure if they had just witnessed a movie scene or reality. Michael adjusted his hoodie, picked up his fork, and sat back down. The lead biker, still wheezing on the floor, coughed out, What are you?" Michael didn't answer right away. He calmly chewed his food, swallowed, then met the man's eyes. "Someone you shouldn't have messed with." The bikers writhed on the ground, bruised and humiliated, their groans filling the diner like the aftermath of a storm. No one dared to move. For a moment, it was as if time had frozen. Then the door creaked open and swung outward slowly as one of the less injured bikers stumbled out into the sunlight, clutching his side. The others followed in staggered silence, dragging each other to their motorcycles like wounded animals retreating into the woods. Michael watched them go, his expression unchanged. He wasn't proud of what had just happened. It wasn't satisfaction written on his face. It was restraint. Self-control. He had done what he had to do, nothing more. The waitress finally found her voice. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Michael nodded. Didn't even break a sweat. Another patron, a truck driver sitting by the window, leaned forward, still trying to piece together what he had seen. What the hell kind of training teaches someone to fight like that? Michael hesitated for a moment, then answered, not with arrogance, but with quiet gravity. "Navy SEAL. 12 years. Gasps filled the room. Whispers spread like wildfire. People who had just seen him as a silent, solitary figure now looked at him with new eyes. Respect. Awe. And a bit of guilt, too, because many of them hadn't spoken up when the bikers made their move. They had watched. Frozen. Afraid. The waitress poured him a fresh cup of coffee, her hand steadier now. "On the house," she said with a smile. "And thank you, for whatever it is you just did." Michael nodded again. "I was just trying to eat my lunch." He finished his meal in peace this time. No stares. No whispers. Just silent gratitude from strangers who knew they'd witnessed something rare, calm power under pressure, the quiet strength of a man who could destroy, but chose not to. As Michael stepped outside into the afternoon sun, the bikers were nowhere in sight. Only the sound of birds and wind passing through the trees. He looked around once, scanned the area by instinct, then walked toward his black SUV parked by the edge of the lot. He opened the door, paused, and looked back at the diner one last time. A kid, no older than 10, was standing in the doorway with his father, eyes wide. The boy raised his hand and gave a small salute. Michael chuckled and returned the gesture, an old habit from a life that had trained him to fight, but also to protect. He got into the car, started the engine, and drove off down the highway, disappearing into the distance like a ghost who had simply come and gone, leaving behind a story that would be told for years in that diner. But the story didn't end there. Later that evening, one of the bikers, the one with the scar, sat in a garage nursing a broken rib and shattered pride. Around him, the others grumbled in pain, their bruises vivid in the dim light. "He was just some dude," one of them muttered. "How the hell was he that fast?" The leader didn't answer. He was staring at his phone, scrolling. "Guys, we messed up bad," he said, his voice hollow now. "That wasn't just some guy. His name is Michael Trent. Navy SEAL. Bronze Star. Led a classified hostage recovery in Kandahar. This dude's a legend. Silence. Shame crept over them. Not just from the beating, but from the truth that had hit them even harder. They had judged a man by his skin. By his silence. By the seat he chose in a diner. And they had attacked him, not knowing they were picking a fight with someone who had faced real enemies in real wars. The difference? Those enemies had guns and training. These bikers had only their ignorance. The story of what happened spread online. A security camera outside the diner had caught part of the scuffle. It wasn't long before the video went viral. Millions watched as one man, calm and unshaken, dismantled 4 attackers with surgical precision. But more powerful than the fight itself was the lesson behind it. The internet didn't just see a Navy SEAL defending himself. They saw a black man targeted by hatred, who could have answered it with rage, but chose discipline. Who could have inflicted serious harm, but showed restraint. The comments poured in. This man is a hero. This is how you carry power, with dignity. They judged the cover and paid the price. Michael never commented on the video. He didn't give interviews. He didn't post about it. That wasn't his style. He'd done what he had to do. Protected himself. Taught a lesson, without ever intending to. But his silence spoke louder than any tweet ever could. And maybe that's what left the deepest impression, not the punches, not the takedowns, but the way he handled it all. With discipline. With control. With the kind of strength that doesn't need to be loud to be heard. So the next time someone underestimates a stranger based on appearances, they might remember this story. And maybe, just maybe, they'll think twice. Because you never really know who you're messing with. And sometimes, they've been trained for war. If this story moved you, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in Michael's place? And how do we confront hate without becoming it ourselves? Your support helps us bring more stories like this, real, powerful, and unforgettable. Thanks for watching.